When I was 17, the summer before my senior year in high school, my mom had a brain aneurysm, and it was in her frontal lobe, which makes you who you are. It deals with decision making and personality and impulse control. She was not the same person that she was after she healed that she was before. My brother would tell me that his mom died that day. She struggled with depression afterwards and attempted suicide a couple of times. And by the time I was ready to graduate from high school, she had met her significant other, new significant other, I guess, the next man, and decided to leave. So I finished high school in Powhatan and then started at VCU. When I was finishing college, she wanted out of the so great relationship, and she called me, and it was a Saturday, I think. I remember bringing her to church that Sunday because we had gone to file an affidavit out, a restraining order. I took her to the place to do that, but he had to have time to leave their home, so she couldn't go back to her home for a certain amount of time. And I think I was singing at church that Sunday, and I was like, well, you have to come with me. So I think I brought her with me that Sunday, and then after church, she was going to stay with one of her friends or someone else that she had met at an AA meeting. I left her that day there.
At the friend's house? At
the friend's house. And I'm a little fuzzy on the details about exactly. I'm sure she probably broke some more rules, maybe, some more alcohol or something, and ended up in a battered women's home shelter. And she would say, I'd call her and talk to her, and they were helping her get on her feet and, teaching her new skills and showing her how to, live with her disability instead of, being consumed by it. And so I thought she was doing good. But it was a Saturday after Thanksgiving, and there was some detectives that came to the house, to Roger's house, because I would come home every weekend from school. So even though it was just in Richmond, I would be home. And they came there looking for me and said that they needed to know where my mom was. I didn't know the exact location. Somewhere in Richmond is, what she said. And so I gave them the phone number that she called from and asked, did I need to file a missing persons report or, anything like that. But they had said that there was a murder. Her husband had been killed, and she left her purse was there, and they needed any information that they could get. So it was Wednesday, and I was at the grocery store, and my dad called me and said that the detectives were back and that I needed to come home. And I said, well, I'm in the middle of grocery shopping. I got class tomorrow. Can I just call them when I'm done? And he said, no, you need to be here. So when I got home, they said that she was murdered. That she was strangled and beaten and suffocated. And they just left her near a dumpster. They say that they all participated in the murder of her husband, and then they fled. And there were things that were said that she was slowing them down, or she had said, well, if we ever get stopped, I'm gonna tell. I'm not gonna act a charade or anything like that. So I think that they just decided that she wasn't worth the trouble, but she was in the passenger seat and sleeping, and she crocheted a lot, and they took the yarn and strangled her and smothered her with the pillow, and then to make sure that she was dead, when they took her out of the car by the dumpster, bludgeoned her with I don't know, like a tire iron or something.
So what happened to the two women?
They obviously were arrested, and there was a plea bargain for one, and then the other one went on trial. So the one that took the plea bargain got 15 years, 20 years, but was supposed to serve 15. And then the second lady got life. So for Georgia, that life is life. It's, it's not like there's a possibility of parole.
So a year or two ago, you reached out to me, and you came to see me to talk about this because you had seen one of these women on TV.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
My sister called and said she saw a National Geographic show, Women in Prison.
Rose's path to Arundel began with good intentions and ended in cold blood. In 2005, she and her co-defendant go to help a friend leave her husband in Virginia, who they believe is abusive.
We had no intentions of nothing happening except for us being there in case the man tried to beat her up. The man raised his hands, like he was going to grab her, so I went and I grabbed him. When I grabbed him, she stabbed him. Right, whoa, I let go.
The three women take off on the run. By the time they reach Georgia, Rose has come to believe the woman tricked them into helping her kill her husband by lying about him being abusive.
Honestly, I felt like this done played on my intelligence, got me involved in this murder in Virginia. I felt like she played on me. So me and my co-defendant talked about it. I said, we're getting the rid of her.
Rose and her co-defendant strangle the woman to death and leave her on the side of the road.
If anybody deserves to die, she does. And that's cold-blooded, but it's the truth. That's the way I felt at the time. She played on my intelligence. So if I'm going down for murder, I'm going to go down for true murder.
Faced with a potential life sentence, Rose takes a plea and receives 20 years for voluntary manslaughter.
I feel blessed to get what I got. If I had to do the whole 50 years, I really couldn't complain because, I did the worst crime you could possibly commit, which means really I deserve it.
I struggle with forgiveness, which is why I'd come to see you, because I wanted the recipe, I guess, for that. I'm not an angry person typically. I don't feel like I hold on to things. I like to move on. So I wanted to make sure that I could say that I have forgiven them. I'm past it. It's been long enough. But every time I get to a good spot, there would be the TV show would come up, or she was up for probation or something, and it would test me. It would make me wonder if, because I'm upset, because I'm crying, because I'm hurt, I must not be over it. I must not have forgiven them, because otherwise I would be fine. So that's what I was looking for.
What'd you decide to do?
Ultimately, decided that just because I have tears and emotions doesn't mean that I've not forgiven them. I think that not hating them and not wanting anything bad and being able to pray for them and looking at them as people, as somebody's mom, maybe.
Tell us about the letters.
I decided that, I don't know, God was telling me, and not like in a voice, but I needed to do something. I needed to share. And I said, well, gosh, I can't do that because I'm still crying and I'm still a mess. And so I thought about things that I needed to do to get to a place where I could share. And I can share with my small group all day long. I mean, they know me. So, well, maybe I need to tell them. Maybe that's what needs to happen. So I crafted a letter, and I told them that I forgive them.
The ladies, the women.
The women that killed her.
You wrote them each a letter.
Yep. Handwritten on a note card. Because I wanted it to be personal. I wanted them to know that this wasn't just a computer. It wasn't a screen. I wanted it to seem like it came from someone. I wanted them to feel it and to know that someone wrote it and not just a printer.
And so you wrote the words, "I forgive you."
I think putting it on paper, I mean, I had felt it a long time before that. I mean, even as hard as it was freeing to write it down, to know that I can do this. I can get to this point where if I can write it, you know that that's what you truly feel. It's weird to see it on paper. Like you can say something and think it, but to write it and then to send it. So, and I prayed that they would hear it. I hope that they read it. I mean, maybe they got it and tore it up. I don't know, but I hope that they opened it and read it.
I can tell you most people who will watch this and hear you they'll say one of two things. First of all, they'll say, that's just remarkable. And then they'll say, I can tell you right now, there are a pile of people that'll say, well, I could never do that. So how did you not become angry or bitter towards your mom for the kind of childhood that you had?
I mean, I think just knowing her struggles, and I think you just have to see the person for who they are instead of what you want them to be. She was abused as a child. She came from a very house full of turmoil, and it's hard to overcome your demons. It's hard. It takes a lot of work, and some people are just not cut out for that. There are some people that just don't have the strength or the faith to do it. And she struggled.
Where do you see God working so that your story didn't turn out like your mom's story, which is what would normally happen? Where was God in all of this?
With me the whole time. I think even when I didn't know, he was there. When I wasn't going to church as a child, I'd like to think that he just had his hand on me, and I somehow, thankfully, was receptive and not, I think of defiant is the word. I mean, there are choices that I could have made differently. When my mom was killed and we went to my uncle's house and they were drinking, and he said, if you don't have a drink, you have to leave. So I got my tennis shoes on and I left because I wasn't gonna do that.
So have you really forgiven these women, do you think?
I think so. I do. I think that, I think some days I know it more than other days, but I think that's a lot like faith. Some days we're really strong in our faith, and some days we waver a little bit. And the days that we waver, I think, is when doubt can creep in, or if we're struggling with something else. You know, just a little corner, just a little sliver sometimes is all it takes. But I feel I'm confident in saying that, you know, I've forgiven them.